The NWA is the oldest governing body in professional wrestling, meaning it was kind of like if you think about every country has an Olympic committee, but the International Olympic Committee oversees them all, and that's in essence kind of a footnote of what the NWA is and what it's supposed to be. It functions as that governing body or overseer of all the regional territories, at least as they existed in the 70s and 80s, and made sure that they were all working together to uphold the brand and make sure that those letters NWA were the major league, as it were, of professional wrestling.
Being able to attach my name to the tradition, history, and respect of the National Wrestling Alliance is a great honor for me. Not only as being a part of the show, but just as a wrestling fan in general. The NWA, you know, for as long as I can remember, has been the oldest and the largest governing body of professional wrestling in the world. And just to be a part of that and to be a part of that legacy means the world to me, and you know, I'm glad to be a part of it.
NWA breeds champions, they bred warriors time and time again, and all those people today can go out and still be successful across the country and across the world.
It's professional wrestling. There is, you know, there's not all this wacky stuff with tight ropes and all this and that. That's fun, whatever, but you know, we're here to wrestle. You know, we're here to entertain as well, but the wrestling is what's entertaining. You know, these fans are here to watch us wrestle. They're here to watch us compete. They're here to watch people win and watch people lose. And the NWA is the most traditional form of that around.
We're not trying to be the WWE. We're not trying to be TNA. We're not trying to be anything that we're not. We're simply a professional wrestling company that's going to be televised.
Like any product that's going to last, you know, Coca-Cola, Disneyland, they're always going to change but remain true to their values. And that's what I see in the NWA of the old and the NWA today.
Wrestling headliner at Madison Square Garden, Antonino Rocca of Argentina meets Lou Thez of St. Louis in the famous ring. Each man claims to be the world's champion. Well, here we go. That's Rocca, a bounding barefoot lad weighing 224 pounds. Thez weighs 228. Both men are top-notch grapplers, and they face each other with caution and respect. Rocca's the barefoot boy. And there's a hip toss by Rocca, but Thez rolls out of trouble. Lou has a determined look, hasn't he? Many observers regard him as the #1 wrestler of modern times. Referee Johnny Guerin scolds Rocca for ungentlemanly conduct in the clinches. And there's another clinch on the rope. But this time it's Thez who rates the scolding from the referee. Now there's a close-up of Rocca as he punishes Lou with a headlock. Now it's Thez's turn. He's got a hammerlock on Rocca. Watch how Antonino breaks it. Then the fun begins. Continue to work each other over. Thez comes off the rope, takes a wicked spill. But he's up before the count. He's groggy. Rocca gives him another backbreaker. Poor Thez. Here comes Rocca in again, and he heaves him out of the ring. But now Rocca's having trouble with the referee. Ignoring warnings by the referee, he clobbers Thez more and more, and then lofts him out of the ring again. You can't pull that stuff on the referee. Rocca is disqualified, and Thez is declared the victor. The big guy from St. Louis has his hand raised in triumph. Thez is still the champion as far as the records is concerned. As for Rocca, boy, he's burned up, and no wonder. He figures he won a wrestling match, but he lost a wrestling rhubarb.
I think Lou Thesz personifies excellence. And when you think of the National Wrestling Alliance, at least for me, his name is always one of the first to pop in, because not only was he a storied champion for decades on end, but he's always the name you hear when people talk about grace and reverence and being that standard bearer for what the NWA is, and being that quintessential champion.
Thesz was the consummate professional. He was a great wrestler, of course, inside the ring, and he was a professional outside the ring. Always could be seen in a suit and tie, a really upstanding man, and a great representative of the sport of professional wrestling.
Lou Thesz was the greatest at his time, because now as a new generation of wrestlers, like a lot of people might say he was the greatest wrestler of all time, but then 10 years down the line, another wrestler might come around and change the way people see wrestling and be like, wow, he's the greatest wrestler, and then so on and so forth. So I think in his era he was, but there's plenty to come after that.
His accomplishments speak for themselves. 7 times the NWA World's Champion, and he held that for 18 years within the 7 time, and I think 10 years in one reign. That's just incredible. And granted, times have changed, but I still think when you look at a man's accomplishments like that, they really need to be respected.
Almost like Benny Hill slapping him on the head. Oh, there he goes. Nice move.
Whoop! It fell backwards.
Tiger. A lot of funny moves, a lot of good moves.
Hits him with a drop kick. Nice executed drop kick. Takes him over now in the head scissor. Finally took him over.
He decided.
And it's hard with these little legs.
Ow.
Wow.
What do you call that?
I don't know. I'll call it the spinning wheel. Call it something. It's got him up in the back breaker.
That was a good move. Michael Jackson using the ropes to get out of that one.
Drop kick. Flips him up, covers him. 1, 2. Oh, I know now the referee's going. I've seen this before. This is a patent move of the midgets. They love to work on that referee. Something's going to happen there.
Over he goes.
Goes to Beal, covers him. 1, 2. He kicks out. What? What? Whoa. Crisscross, what's happening?
Adrian trying to get out of there. He gets kicked by Little Beaver.
You'd be hard-pressed to pick the wildest, wackiest character in the world of professional wrestling. Certainly, it's got a colorful history. But I remember the first one that really stood out to me was the Missing Link. Here's a guy, he's orange with green hair. He's basically a jacked up Oompa Loompa, except he wasn't dishing out everlasting gobstoppers, he was dishing out pain. But I remember going to LA and watching him wrestle live. And here's a guy, he's pulling his own hair, he's hitting himself with a chair. I mean, just an absolute nutcase.
There's a lot of characters that really caught my attention in professional wrestling, but one guy that really stood out over a lot of people, and a lot of people may be surprised that I think this, but is Iceman King Parsons. Wrestled for the Von Erichs in Texas, and this guy was Mr. T before Mr. T was Mr. T.
I remember when I was a kid watching a Superstation TBS out of Atlanta, and all of a sudden here's this guy, couldn't be any more than maybe 6 feet tall, but it was rotund, he was round, and he was fat. He was a fat guy with platinum blonde hair, who would wear a sequin hat with a Leonard Skinner t-shirt and come out there and talk about how he's the son of a plumber and the bull of the woods, if you will. And I'm talking about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, as someone who coined himself and called himself a common man, but he was anything but common. He was everything the common man wanted to be, but didn't know how to put it.
Coco beware the Birdman, baby. I seen this guy out there with bleached blonde hair and his bandana and his nice little puff-up coat and his little bird up there doing the bird, walking in the ring, getting busy, getting the crowd into it, shaking his legs like this, doing the butterfly.
You know, when you talk about all the crazy characters in professional wrestling, you gotta talk about the Ugandan giant Kamala. I mean, here's a guy, comes to the ring from the deepest, darkest jungles of Africa. He's got, you know, pain all over his body. He's smacking his belly going, all this crazy stuff, jumping off the top rope, splashing people. Kamala, out of control, totally a character. I mean, what more do you want?
Entering the ring, weighing in at 238 pounds, Fred Mazzino. Fred Mazzino, and from Sudan. From Sudan, weighing in at 446 pounds, Abdullah the Butcher.
Abdullah the Butcher, the madman from the Sudan, against Fred Martino, and as you can see, Martino is already in trouble. The Butcher taking off through the chair. Around the main floor of the arena, you see Jonathan Boyd, the Warlord. Abdullah moving back into the ring now. And with a headbutt drops Martino. Once again, watch the big man from the Sudan now. Martino trying to come up. Abdullah stalks his man, moves in now, picks him up. The club light blow down across the back. And Abdullah ready now to move in for the diving elbow. 440 pounds. Boom. 2 count, and Abdullah pulls him up by the hair. And I would say under the direct order of Jonathan Boyd. Abdullah goes once again, dropping that elbow. And a 3 count. And almost in no time at all, Abdullah the Butcher has racked up another win. Abdullah Butcher comes up with a win over Fred Martino. We'll be back with more great international championship wrestling right after these words.
Funk.
Explodes with the right hand that has Funk staggered. Malone connects again and goes back to a side headlock. Carlos Colon from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Dory Funk Jr. from Barker, Texas. Colon keeps the side headlock. This kind of pressure on an opponent, of course, begins to interfere with the breathing of the opponent. And as that occurs, the knee lift by Funk, and there's one of those devastating polo forearms. Then a chop into the throat of Carlos Colon. Catches him with another polo forearm. And Colon could be in a lot of trouble here. An overhook on the head. Funk tries to set him for a good block by Colon. Another block. Colon blocking him for a third time. And it's Colon bringing the Funk over. A high float over lateral press. And a 2 count and again. And Colon somewhat upset that time as he wanted that 3 count. Funk backing away. Irish whip into the far turnbuckle. Colon exposed to the midsection. Catches him right in that abdominal wall. Irish whip into the opposite turnbuckle. And Funk is beginning to buckle under this pressure. And Colon catches him with the right hand into the prefrontal lobe. And Funk drops to the canvas. Good move by Funk. I'll tell you, he's quite a ring general. He really is. And Colon's going to have to be careful because Funk will have you convinced that he's hurt a lot worse than he is. But Colon now punishing that left arm. And if he can take away the capability of that left arm, It's like taking away a leg from a table. 2 arms and 2 legs, just think of them as 4 legs on a table. You take away one and the table's gonna collapse. And there's a forward leg trip and a roll up now by Dory Funk Jr. Inside step over, now a crotch ride on the ankle. And Colon in a 4-point position. Funk trying to post the near arm, has Colon down to the canvas. Leverage. Scissoring the body. Excellent close-up here by our ringside cameraman. I'll tell you what, these fellas risk a lot while they're out there. I'm referring to the cameraman. A 230-pound body comes flying at you, and you're carrying an $80,000 camera, you've got your hands full. Funk again reaching up, and you can see the movement of that ring rope as Funk had some extra leverage again. There's Funk. There's a good shot of that extra leverage he was getting, caught by the referee. Funk now. His forearms rocking Carlos Colon. Funk trying to set him for the pile driver. Has him in the pile driver. And that may be all she wrote for Carlos Colon. No, sir. He powers out again. Boy, you talk about great second effort. Carlos Colon has it. Another forearm that rocks the man from Puerto Rico, and another one in Colon. Those legs going a little bit rubbery on him now. A chop into the throat, and Colon trying desperately to get those cobwebs squared away. Fires back with the right hand. Funk misses with the right, and Colon connects. Colon now with the head on the pitch, back to the canvas. Cartwheel by Colon, and Colon. That adrenaline is really flowing now. Good second effort here. Colon back on his man. Funk drives the knee to the midsection. Funk sets him again for another pile driver, a block by Colon. Colon this time has him into a backdrop. And so Funk in trouble. A series of pounding right hands into the head of Dory Funk Jr. Double knee, double leg pickup. And Funk getting some extra leverage there with those legs. The referee oblivious to that fact. Colon gets that shoulder off. Funk keeping the, the referee caught that one. And now a battle between the referee and Funk, and Colon capitalizes on that. While Funk's attention was diverted, Colon connects with a series of right hands. Colon explodes another right hand into the head of Dory Funk Jr. Up on that second ring rope now, he's got Funk Jr. in trouble. And again, it's Colon pounding away, and Dory Funk Jr. has been pretty severely lacerated. Funk's face becoming a crimson mask, and Funk is dazed. He doesn't know what area code he's in. He's caught again, and Funk firing away blindly, and Carlos Colon connects with another headbutt, and it's Funk back to the canvas. The Universal Heavyweight Champion in a lot of trouble as Carlos Colon continues to pound away at the head of one Dory Funk Jr., the Universal Heavyweight Champion. All but out on his feet. I don't know what's bringing him back to his feet. You've got to hand it to the champion. He's got great instinctive powers here. Carlos Colon, a single leg pickup. Colon down across those femoris muscles, and Funk dazed, staggered, in a lot of trouble, and Carlos Colon goes for the figure 4. Carlos Colon goes for that figure 4, and he's got it on him. Dory Funk Jr. in desperate trouble here, makes it to the ring ropes. That forces the break. That'll force the break. Carlos Colon had him in that, and Colon thought he had him. Funk in a lot of trouble now. Funk moves outside the ring, and Colon right after it. Funk trying to move away. Colon smashing Funk into that ring post. And Funk's face now, a complete crimson mask. And there's a a steel chair into the face of Dory Funk Jr. Carlos Colon after him now, and Funk firing blindly. His vision has been obscured, and he's caught with another headbutt. Funk in a lot of trouble as Colon closes in once again. Funk desperately moves away from the ring, and Funk leaving the ring area in trouble, and Funk looking for a way out. Colon right after him again. And now they're battling it out in the crowd. Funk fires back. Boy, you talk about tenacity. These two men have both got at the referee. Both men counted out. Both men counted out as this battle has gotten out of hand. And again, it is Dory Funk Jr.
3 seconds. The referee disqualified both wrestlers out of the ring.
There you heard it from the ring announcer. Both wrestlers disqualified when they carried the battle outside the squared circle, and it's Carlos Colon following his man like a hawk. He's still after him, and the battle rages outside the ring. Carlos Colon wanting desperately to get a pinfall or a victory over the Universal Heavyweight Champion, Dory Funk Jr., but there you see him, certainly unbeaten, unbowed, and still the #1 contender for that Universal Heavyweight Championship, Carlos Colon.
All right. I always looked up and admired Bret the Hitman Hart. He was a man that was part of tradition, just like the National Wrestling Alliance, coming from Stampede Wrestling with Stu Hart and the National Wrestling Alliance. Bret Hart was a man of character, a man's man, always a fighting champion, always would do the right thing to get to the top.
Definitely, I'd have to say Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, and Chris Jericho. Those are my 2 biggest inspirations from that time when I first came into wrestling. I could just see myself in them. I've never been the biggest guy, and in a world of giants, they held their own.
To narrow down one person that I looked at and I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. There are so many people that molded this idea of mine, but if I was to pick one person, I'm gonna have to go with a Ric Flair, because the guy is verbose, he likes to talk, he likes to walk, he likes to do everything that I like to do.
I've had many influences in pro wrestling over the years. Going back to being a kid here in Los Angeles, the first person I ever met was Freddie Blassie, and that was at the Olympic Auditorium. And he scared the hell out of me. I was in an area that I know I wasn't supposed to be in, but back then security was pretty lax, and Fred Blassie really put me in my place.
You've done some shows recently with Sean Waltman, who's another guy that I grew up, Global Wrestling was the first time I saw him in the early 90s, and that was always a guy that I saw him and I was like, well, he's small, and I'm small, so if he could be small and do all this stuff, like, you know, why can't I be small and do it too? And he was, guys like him, Jerry Lynn, those are always guys I looked up to, and now getting to do shows with people like that it's pretty amazing.
I don't remember who he was wrestling, but I just remember here comes this guy. Again, it was like the 80s must have been something about platinum blonde hair, just like the 90s were about bald heads. But here's this guy in platinum blonde, and he's tugging at his suit jacket, and he's making sure there's no dust or pet hair or whatever, and he's talking about how he's custom made, and he's flashing his rings, and of course he's the champion, and he's got the 10 pounds of gold, and he's better than you, and taking every opportunity not only to tell you that, but to drill it into your head over and over again, that you couldn't help coming away with either hating Ric Flair with every fiber of your being, or being absolutely in awe of this character, this larger-than-life God, forgive the term, of professional wrestling. Someone that not only walked on water, but told you he was going to walk on water, and then would spill the water on you afterwards, all while still being custom made from head to toe, and looking only as he can look. And I'm sure everybody is familiar with Ric Flair, but he resonates in me, that's for sure.
There you see him, the nature boy, Ric Flair, 240 pounds, calls himself the franchise, and indeed he is. You just heard the statement, it's hard to be humble when you look like this. Ric Flair And as I've said so many times before, here's a man who had it all from birth. He was literally born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father, an extremely successful physician. Rick could have chosen just about any career he wanted. He has always been a great athlete in football, in wrestling. Went on from private schools to attend the University of Minnesota, where he became all-state in collegiate wrestling. Was also a member of the Golden Gophers football team. He lived in Minneapolis for a number of years, now officially makes his home in Charlotte, North Carolina. And to all of you Minneapolitans who may be watching right now, a special hi. My hometown. All right. Flair keeping the pressure. I'll tell you something. If there's anyone that I know of that is capable of an upset,
How's that for scientific wrestling going now?
he has all those capabilities, and Rose could be an upsetter, though. Flair keeping that arm trapped. Look at Rose turn into his man and Flair countering him. Flair, beautiful float over, keeping a loose ride, posting that arm. Brother, don't ever think for a minute this man doesn't keep himself completely polished at all times. Post that far arm. A little too close to the ropes, almost had him in a pinning combination. Flair is the world's best. Flair is also one of the first to let you know about it. But, like I've heard him say before, Gordon, people who are conceited think they're good, that I know I'm good. Wow. Rose hurtled through those ropes. And he's got some problems coming up. Referee Nick Patrick tolling the count.
Carolina blue today, Daddy. Carolina blue.
Carolina blue is what he's wearing. Say a special hi to all the good folks in Pembroke. Hope you're enjoying the program. Rose back on his feet once again. Ric Flair, the world champion. Caught in the midsection, caught on the side of the jaw by Rose. Rose beginning to really move on Flair now. And Rose, who feels he's taken a lot, suddenly coming back and beginning to dish it out. Flair, all of a sudden says, okay, 2-minute warning. And brother, I'll tell you, nobody does it better when he gets on. There's that characteristic phrase of Flair. Deep, deep, double underhook. Into a suplex.
Now we go to school.
Now we go to school as that catchphrase of the world champion as he goes to the figure four. Beautiful application. The only man I've ever seen apply the figure four any more or any better than that or as good as that or what have you is former world heavyweight champion Jack Briscoe. He won the World Heavyweight Championship using the figure four, and we may be seeing that again in slow motion. Watch this, a deep double underhook, beautifully executed suplex. Now, comes down on the body, watch the machine-like precision that he moves into the figure 4. That puts pressure on 4 points of the leg and the ankle and the knees. And believe you me, you just don't escape from it.
You know, the National Wrestling Alliance really is just that. It brings the best talent around from really all 4 corners of the world. And we've seen a big influx of luchadors in the NWA recently. And I love the passion of the performers. I mean, they throw caution to the wind. Some of the moves that they execute are just mind-blowing. Well, the masked luchador is so woven into the fabric of society and that's been brought to the U.S. It's really a privilege for our fans to be able to see how passionate the competitors are, but also how passionate the fans are.
Having competed in Mexico numerous times, we're talking about a legitimate cultural phenomenon, and this is something that dates back maybe even longer than the National Wrestling Alliance does here in the United States. Lucha Libre is an institution in Mexico, and the followers of Lucha Libre are so passionate about who their favorites are and who they hate, and the mask is such a symbol of that identity that literally wars. I've seen wars erupt in arenas over a guy grabbing another guy's mask.
I think it's very important not only for myself, but for all wrestlers, because there is that lineage, just like with the NWA, just like pro wrestling as standalone. There's great history in it. There's so many wrestlers that have been trained in it, so many wrestlers that perform today. We have our former champion, Blue Demon, one of the best luchadors in the world. And if I ever want to be competitive and if I ever want to wrestle a man like him, that's definitely something that I'll have to bring to the table.
Welcome to El Paso, Texas. My name is Chris Kloss, sitting next to Todd Kennelly, and this is a battle. This is a tag team battle. This is a battle of legends, and we got 4 of them in the ring right now, Todd.
I'll tell you what, Chris Kloss, we may be live here in the Lone Star State, but 4 stars of Lucha Libre getting ready to go at it, and they're going to be battling for some serious orgullo. That's pride.
Oh, indeed. Rey Mysterio Sr., El Hijo de Santo, Nicho, Blue Demon, and look at this, talking now. Trying to map up some sort of plan here for their opposition. Both teams. Oh, look at this head of steam. Nicho misses.
Nicho, many of our fans may recognize him as a person that used to compete as Psychosis, and he's in there with Rey Mysterio Sr. Now, our fans, of course, may be more familiar with his nephew, Rey Mysterio Jr., but to take nothing away as Senior, he has been a legend in Mexico for many, many years.
Nice deep arm drags right there, and a nice power slam from Rey Mysterio Sr. Again, the uncle of Rey Mysterio Jr. I like calling him the father. I mean, this guy was like this was his mentor. This is the guy right here. But right now, we got all the legends in the ring right now, and of course, the sons of the legends, talking about Santo, talking about Blue Demon. I mean, but these guys have surpassed what their fathers have laid out before them.
Certainly have in terms of in-ring ability and just true legends. In Mexico, they are every bit that, just even more than legends. They are icons. They are fixtures of Mexico and the heritage.
And look at Santo right here, taking it to both members. Blue Demon, oh, drop kick from the back, wow. And out goes Nicho.
And these two know each other quite well, and now a head scissors takedown. Look out here. Here comes Mysterio and Santo.
Oh my goodness, all four
suicide
members.
Dive.
We have got to take a break. We will be right back.
All right, fans, we're back from commercial break with more of this exclusive Lucha Libre tag team match. And there you see Santo and Mysterio Sr. They've got the higher ground right now, Chris.
Well, right now they are in the ring, and outside of the ring, we're seeing suffering right now as Blue Demon, but following them up now. Both men, both Rey Mysterio Sr. and El Hijo del Santo, firing him back into the ring the hard way, but could have been a mistake right there. Look at this, following him up now is Nicho and Blue Demon. Wow, double Naga right there, and down on the concrete.
Yeah, and
Santo.
This might be the opportunity that Nicho and Blue Demon need to now take the offensive. They're gonna make a wish here in the corner.
Gosh, I felt that one. Jeez. What a
now
shot.
On the outside, Blue Demon taking it to Santo, and what a history these two have. You know, in these two characters, these two luchadors, really woven into the fabric of the culture in Mexico, and it's really a preference choice by the Mexican wrestling fans.
Oh, absolutely right. As we see the action persist. I mean, these guys have had battles, boy, through the annals of time, and all over the place. I mean, not only all over the world, but all over, not only in the ring, outside of the ring, through the arena, outside of the arena. I mean, these guys are hell-bent against one another. I mean, this always is a war. You can bet, you can be assured that when these two go at it. And look at this Nicho from the top here, Todd. What do we have? Springboard leg drop. Wow, catching him with the momentum of that rope.
Yeah, that is what he is known for. He has won many a title with that move. Our American fans have, of course, seen Nicho has held various cruiserweight titles. Really crossed over and had great success in the U.S., but again, can't say enough for the legendary figures that are in the ring now, Blue Demon and Santo. And he's looking to take his mask off.
Oh, no.
The ultimate in humiliation
Are you
in
kidding
Lucha
me?
Libre.
El Hijo de Santo will be unmasked here tonight in the Lone Star State. No.
Absolute sacrilege there, and
absolutely right.
Santo is going to have to try and do something to create some space from his opponent here, but Blue Demon staying right on him, and Santo is in the wrong part of town.
Absolutely, it doesn't look too good at all for Santo right now. As you mentioned earlier, Todd, Nicho, Blue Demon doing a very nice job tagging up together, cutting that ring in half as Blue Demon continues the onslaught against his arch nemesis, El Hijo de Santo, but he makes the tag to Rey Mysterio Sr., the uncle of Rey Jr. Uh-oh.
In comes Mysterio Sr., but now he's the recipient of much of the same. Blue Demon able to cut him off and hit with some strikes. Now Nicho with a back elbow, and the team of Nicho and Blue Demon in firm control of this Lucha Libre matchup right now. Look out, here comes Blue Demon, full head of steam, and this team right now is really a Casa en Fuego, a house of fire.
Two powerful clotheslines right there from both Nicho and Blue Demon onto Rey Mysterio Sr., the legend himself, going for the pin. Referee a little bit slow right there, but does it matter? Look at this, Nicho picking up Rey Sr.
I gotta think that that is a huge mistake. When you have a man the caliber of Mysterio Sr. in a compromising position, you gotta go for the win.
Oh, absolutely right. As we see right here, the double team ensues. The onslaught continues from Blue Demon and onto Rey Mysterio Sr. from Nicho and Blue Demon.
Blue Demon is devastating with those open hand, overhand chops.
And speaking of devastation, what a drop kick that was from Nicho onto Santo. And they have a make-a-wish. Oh, look out.
So we saw it happen to Mysterio Sr. earlier, and now Santo split there by his opponents.
Armringer from Blue Demon now, draping him. And look at this, Rey Mysterio Sr. Talk about frustration right here, because the double team again from Nicho and Blue Demon, and the referee paying no attention to it whatsoever.
Yeah, Nicho and Blue Demon going upstairs, downstairs, all points in between, showing great teamwork right now. The more effective tag team wrestling being displayed at this time by Blue Demon and Nicho.
And I cannot emphasize enough how efficient cutting the ring in half is in tag team wrestling. They're doing a stellar job of that, but Santo trying desperately to fight to go toward his corner, and Rey Mysterio Sr. impatiently waiting on the far side.
Santo desperately looking for a tag. This time he makes it. In comes Mysterio Sr. again. But no, the referee did not see it, or not allowing the tag, and right back into the corner now is Santo, and another quick tag made. So the team of Blue Demon and Nicho keeping a fresh man in the ring at all times.
Absolutely right, and now Nicho wailing away on the legend Hijo de Santo right now. And look at that mask again, Todd. I mean, that mask, it's all unlaced. I mean, that thing can fly off at any second now. And I gotta say, I mean, I got curiosity. I do have the curiosity to see it, but if I had to say, I don't want to see that mask come off tonight. I'm sorry. I know a lot of fans may want that, but come on, this is the legend right here, Santo.
Santo looks like he flew off the top there. Yes, in fact, he did with the head scissors. So now the pendulum, the tide has turned in this matchup. And, you know, we've talked about the mask and what a tradition that is. Look at that beautiful move off the top. And now dive into the outside.
Santo is flying just about everywhere here.
You know, I was going to wonder there for a second, Chris, if maybe the mask almost coming undone was distracting Santo, but it looks like he's regained his focus.
It's poured more fuel on that fire that Blue Demon has started. Oh, my goodness, up and over the top. High cross body, nicely done.
I don't think Mysterio Jr. has anything on his uncle there. We've got to take a break, folks. We'll be back.
fans, we are back, and this war has continued. I mean, two legends in the ring. I mean, God, this is like Coke versus Pepsi, like Chevy versus Ford, McDonald's versus Burger King. Santo, Blue Demon in the ring together, Todd.
That's Transformers versus Knight Rider, and now it's a camel clutch by Santo. And the referee...
low blow!
Oh, Dios mio, he hit him south of the border. Here's the cover.
No, damn it, no! What a miscarriage again!
The Galaxy Theater, amongst those who've performed in it, going back to the late 90s and cooling off somewhere in the middle of 2005 or so. I mean, this was, I dare say it's the Madison Square Garden of Southern California, but it's the closest thing to something like the Grand Olympic Auditorium that wrestlers of our generation had.
To be part of something of a tradition, it's huge. It's huge for not only professional wrestling, it's huge for Los Angeles, it's huge for Hollywood, and it's huge for me.
So if you wanted to become a star, you had to go where the stars were coming from. And that was Southern California. And now the NWA has championship wrestling right out of that same venue that created the biggest stars that are carrying the torch to a certain extent of professional wrestling.
Well, the Galaxy Theater in Southern California is probably the only mecca of professional wrestling on the West Coast at the moment.
I mean, so many people from Southern California got their start in the Galaxy, and I feel like this is where I'm going to get my start. This is where I'm going to blow up just like they did.
I'm happy to be a part of wrestling once again in the Galaxy Theater, and I think it's a perfect venue for families and for fans to kind of get up and get that up close and intimate setting on what professional wrestling is supposed to be.
That building was a breeding ground for so much great talent. Some of the biggest names that are in the business today came from there, and now you bring the tradition of the NWA into that. There's no telling the type of talent that you're going to see and where they're going to end up. Years from now, you'll be hearing tales of the talent you saw in NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and what they've gone on to become.
What we have in California, we don't have the Olympic Auditorium anymore. We don't have the San Bernardino Arena. The American Legion Post in El Monte is gone. And all we really have is the Galaxy. And I believe the television that's going to be on KDOC out of the Galaxy Theater with these new stars, it's going to be an exciting time, and the Galaxy is going to be hopping once again.
NWA Hollywood coming on the air is an incredible opportunity for everyone involved, all the wrestlers in the locker room, everybody involved, even myself included. And it's a great opportunity for the NWA to reintroduce itself to a new generation of wrestling fans and hopefully create some new ones as well.
The people in Southern California are ready for something different, and NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is going to bring it to them.
A pro wrestling company needs two good things. Two things to make a company at the beginning: talent and television. Two T's. You need good television because television is what sells your product. Just like anything.
I believe the public is ready for a program like this again. Some might call it a throwback show. I look at it as a typical pro wrestling hour where you have good guys, you have bad guys, and you can decipher who's who.
It's been such a great experience to be a part of something groundbreaking and historic for the National Wrestling Alliance, and to be on TV again. Really, what it does is it gets the National Wrestling Alliance back in the prominence that it has been in for so long.
To have television and the opportunity to wrestle on a weekly basis, not only in front of a local crowd, but across the region, you can't compare it to anything. It's such a great opportunity, not only as a learning experience, but to go against the best talent there is to offer.
Everyone watches KDOC, so to be on that and with the NWA and as part of the Rock Nest Monsters doing what I love, I couldn't be happier.
These guys are coming out and giving it their all. And I know that sounds cliche these days, but it's true. They're all fresh, they're all new. And you don't know who any of these guys are necessarily, but I guarantee you, once you give us a chance, you're gonna know every one of their names. So it's extremely important for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood to succeed, and it's gonna take you people at home, you people, to make it happen.
When you find NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on KDOC, you don't exactly know what you're going to get, because there is going to be talent brought in from all around the world. There's going to be talent that you're seeing for the first time, people that you're not used to. Well, it's not going to be the same old song and dance. NWA is looking for the best talent in the world, and we're going to bring it to you each and every week. You don't know what you're going to get, but I can guarantee you, you're going to get great action.